Good day, everyone. Richard Cowperthwait for Northwest Access TV. Thanks for joining us as we get ever closer to the March 4 Town Meeting Day. Very happy to have the two candidates for a two-year term for the St. Albans Town Selectboard joining me this morning. And appreciate your time. Amanda Headley, who is currently a Select Board member, and Bob Cross. After a two-year term, this is a term that Brendan Deso held, resigned a while back, and Amanda, you got the appointment for that term, for the getting us up to March. And again, two candidates running for a two-year term. Jeff Sanders, the incumbent, running for a three-year term unopposed. Amanda, we'll let you start things off here. Give us a little background and why'd you decide to go for an elected term having been appointed?
Well, I'd like to continue serving the town. So it's been a pleasure thus far since December, being able to attend the meetings and not only just attend the meetings. So, it's not just a 4-hour-a-month commitment. You really have to attend community events and know what's going on in the town. And that's why I've been meeting with the fire department, the DPW, the police department to find out what's working, what's not working, how can we improve things. And also I've been attending the legislative breakfast that was held at the City Hall and the mini summit on homelessness and substance abuse.
Give us a little background, work background. Give us a little background on that. What do you do work-wise?
So right now I'm a real estate agent. So I'm public facing all the time. So I'm listening to people. What do they need? Why are they selling? Why are they moving? What do they want in a house that they're buying? So listening is a really key part of my job. And so listening to the community is going to come easily and naturally to me. And in the past, I also worked for Facebook, and I managed 150 employees and 7 buildings to make sure those employees felt heard and safe, and that we kept the building secure.
Bob, give us a little background on yourself and why'd you decide to jump into this race?
Been a resident of the greater St. Albans area for all my life, 48 years of it in the town of St. Albans. Along with being a member of the volunteer fire department for the past 48 years. Chief is 30 years.
And still a member of the department?
Still a member of the department,
Okay.
correct. When I was a chief and when I worked full-time for the town, I was the public safety administrator for close to 10 years.
And the first one?
First one hired
for the
full-time for the department.
Yeah.
And so the benefit was I was the chief at the same time, so it was a benefit for all that I could, work on budgets and work on the daily operations of the department besides being the public safety director and health officer. So I was never able to, with those two positions, I was never able to run for a select board position because of the conflict of interest, which probably would have been acted upon sometimes. That's why basically I'm going for the select board position because I never had the opportunity to do it before, and I still want to serve the community in another capacity.
Interesting. What do you?
I'm up on most of the stuff. I've worked with 30 years worth of select board members, and I feel that I've worked closely with them, and I know the direction the town wants to go in, and I feel that I can probably assist with that.
How have you been campaigning? What's the campaigning been like?
I just go to door with some of the people that I know and that respect me as what I've done for the town up to this point.
Yeah. Amanda, but what about yourself? How have you been going about campaigning for this two-year term?
Well, I have a bunch of community members that I've already met with door to door as well. So there's lots of streets that I've already hit. There's a few on my list still to hit. I'm doing McQuam Shore on Saturday. And people are posting on Front Porch Forum for me to get the word out, what is this all about? Don't forget town meeting days coming up, and how I can really give back to the community.
Right. Just two articles, kind of a different situation in St. Albans Town from years past. I guess not last year, but there used to be a number of articles on the town meeting ballot, now down to 2. The budget the select board proposing, hoping for approval for an almost $7.6 million budget. And the other article, whether voters will authorize the select board to use up to $300,000 of the prior year general fund surplus to reduce taxes for fiscal year 2026. I'd take a wild guess that you support the budget being on the board, but you tell me, is that a budget you're supporting?
Yes, I did go through it, line by line and make sure that, the money is being spent as well as possible and that it's not being used superfluously, that we're using the money responsibly, and I support it.
In Article 2, I assume you support the $300,000 figure?
Yes, yeah, we
Okay.
have reserves for a reason, and so it's good if we can use those reserves to help the taxpayers out and reduce the amount that we're taxing them.
Okay. Bob, do you support that budget?
I absolutely support it.
Yeah?
Yep.
And the second article, I assume, that might reduce taxes?
Up to 300. I'm hoping that the select board, in the past, they've chosen not to go to the extreme amount, which was, I think last year was 600,000, and they went with 400. I'd like to see them, if the voters approve the up to 300, I'd like to see them use the 300.
Right. I guess, and Amanda, you're on the board, of course, probably the most significant increase in the budget is police coverage with the situation with St. Albans City, the town and city splitting police coverage now. Are you happy with how that's working out? Do you think town's faring well with coverage by St. Albans PD?
I do. I think it was a smart move, instead of using the sheriff's department, and I think that the city police department is doing a great job. And I love that now we can call it the St. Albans Police Department, not just, the city department.
Yeah.
And they are covering. I've seen them around. I've seen them down at the bay. I've seen them, patrolling, so they are covering the whole town.
Bob, your thoughts on, and
I
going
think
back?
it was a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Should we be paying half? I don't know. I mean, I don't have the numbers. I don't know how much they've done as far as the crimes unit in the town of St. Albans, if they're using it that much more
Yeah,
in
the
the town.
street crimes unit is back up and
Yeah,
running again.
Whether they're using it more, as much in the town as they are in the city. Because we are paying for half of that crimes unit also, so.
Going back to, I think what was aptly termed the historic agreement between the city and town a while back on the police coverage and water wastewater issue, is that something, does that strike you as a good deal?
Yeah, yeah.
Boy, I'd love to know the figure of litigation over the years between the, it's got to be so easily in the hundreds of thousands of
Yeah,
dollars.
for
So-
sure.
So you would have liked to have seen that in fact, actually, I recall a proposal you had way back when, getting into some of that, I think. Anyway, but that issue, so city-town relations, you think are in pretty good shape now, or
They've improved.
they've improved?
don't-
Any areas would you like to see more improvement, or any specific new initiatives?
I'd like to see, I know we're paying quite a bit for recreation, and which is fine. I think the town and city, that they should have been both paying their fair share as far as recreation goes, because the town uses it just as much as the city does.
Do you think the town, going back a couple of years ago to the vote on the community swimming pool, of course, St. Albans Town residents narrowly voted against that, and the city the next year decided to do it themselves. Were you happy the town didn't vote to join the city for that, or?
My view back then
Yeah.
was that if we were part owners of Hardak, then I would have supported that 100%. That was my only issue that we had, was when the city was offered the chance to purchase or be a part and own Hardak. I wish they would have came to the town and said, look, we can be co-owners on this. And if that would have happened, and then they said, let's do the swimming pool, I would have been, oh yeah, absolutely.
Amanda, thoughts on that? Again, St. Albans Town narrowly rejected joining the city for the community swimming pool initiative, then the city went on its own. Would you have liked to see the town be part of that back then, or?
I
you may not have-
voted for
Oh,
the
so you-
pool.
So in fact, you were in town, you were here then?
Yes, I was, and yes, I did vote for it. I was disappointed when it didn't pass, so I am glad that we've come to an agreement in that, the town is helping the community members access those things for the same cost as the city residents. Because the town was paying more to access, the pool and things, so I'm glad that they are supplementing the cost of it to make it easily accessible for all members of the community.
Yeah.
And also, what else? You were talked about a lot of things.
No, I think you covered my question there. And again, the town does subsidize residents for using the pool. Bob, are you happy with it? Is that something the town should be doing?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel it should be, yeah.
The old stone house at the Bay Park gets a lot of attention. Sounds like, and you've been dealing with that a bit. Would you like to see, again, I'm hearing everything from I guess the slate roof is a huge issue, and with a historic building, trying to deal with that. Some talk about trying to make that a year-round building. Your thoughts on the old stone house? Would you like to see more done with that, or is too tough financially, or any thoughts?
I think having an actual community home base, which I think St. Albans Bay Park really is that base for the town, because the city has Taylor Park. And so making that building year-round is really going to be an asset for everyone. It's going to bring people in the winter to take more walks or snowshoeing or things there during the winter that they can't really do right now.
Bob, what about thoughts on the old stone house?
I think it's a great summer recreation area.
I think the town does a
year-round.
great job with it too.
Yeah,
I mean, I walk
absolutely.
down there a lot.
Yeah. Year-round, I think the maintenance cost would be a little more than what I think the town residents would really actually want to pay for heating and maintaining the building. But I'd love to see the building restored to its natural. I used to go there back years
Really?
ago when the bus used to go down there, and
Is
we
that
used to
right?
pay a dime for the basket to put your clothes in, and you swam for the day, and then you got your basket back. And I was down there for that.
Interesting.
So-
I guess the bay's got incredible history. Was it like
Yeah.
streetcars that used to go down from the city? Maybe, I don't know.
I wasn't here for that one.
I suspect you missed that, but no, the bay's got a great history. The former town hall. Amanda, I'll start with you. Is there hope for the former town hall? I'm hearing some folks saying we're never going to get anything of use out of it. Knock it down and use the property. Have you got a hope that the former town hall will come back to life?
You know, real estate is a tricky
And
business.
of course, you're the real estate person.
Yeah. So to say that a building isn't worth anything, a building is definitely worth something to someone, right? It's just finding the right person that wants to take it on. So I think it has possibility and potential, and I think it could be a great asset to the Bay Area. It's just finding that right investor that wants to invest in it. And whether that is to, maybe they are going to rebuild it, but I think it's still a great spot, and I think it has a lot of potential.
Bob, what do you hope for the old town hall, or are you not holding your breath about that?
I don't think we'd be dealing with the town hall at this point right now if we followed our policy on liquidation of assets. I think if that policy had been followed when they were trying to liquidate that building, I think it would have been gone by now, without getting into too much of it.
And again, does it just seem dubious to you that it's got a future, that there'd be any useful use for it in the future?
I think there's useful use. I mean, I don't know if they'll let us tear down a historical building, because it is.
Apparently, I came up at, when I interviewed some of the town officials, apparently, I guess they could tear it down.
Oh, really? Okay.
And anyway, well, I guess we'll see what happens. And I guess the town switched real estate firms, trying to sell that a while back, Amanda? I think there's a
Yes.
new firm now dealing with that?
Yeah, Donahue and Associates.
Okay. They're getting any bites at this point, do you know?
I have not caught up with Meg at this point to
Yeah,
see
they're not
how the
sure.
traffic is, but I'm sure they're working on it, because that's kind of how real estate is. It's like we're in the background doing all the things and making all the calls that you don't see or hear about.
Yeah.
So
And the former Public Works garage comes to mind. What to do with that property? Any thoughts on that?
My thoughts back when they built the new town garage
Yeah.
was, it's just another piece of property that we have to maintain and take care of. Why not liquidate that? But nobody wanted to hear that from me.
So you think the town should consider selling that and selling the property perhaps?
I think so.
Interesting.
I don't think the town should be in business to make money. I think we should liquidate the assets that we have that we're maintaining and don't have to maintain.
Interesting. Anything else like that come to mind in the town to liquidate?
Not at this time. Not at this time.
Yeah. Amanda, what about the old Public Works garage site? What do you think should be done with that?
well, we had that was on the
And you-
agenda last
and-
night.
And you've been taking a look at that, obviously, the board has.
Yeah, well,
It was
and
on
the
agenda
planning
last
commission
night.
did as well. So when I
Okay.
was on the planning commission, we were working with the NRPC and just thinking of possibilities. So they're down to 3 possibilities, and then we voted last night to go forward with 2 possibilities, and that means that they're going to dig deeper on, either a boat launch or a community space. And, either option would be great. I would like to know how many people own boats versus the people that don't, and what would benefit the community the most. And a free community space is really needed, especially because it's so close to the water, the salt shed, and it's in good shape. If you tear down the building, you can't rebuild it that close to the water because of the Shoreline Protection Act. So if you keep that building and then rehabilitate it, then you're grandfathered in and you can have a space there. And I think it'd be great, you know, you could rent it for weddings or birthday parties or things like that. And it would also have a small boat launch as well for like canoes and kayaks.
What was the third option out of curiosity that you didn't vote to continue to look at?
It was a playground, and the consensus was that there was already a playground at the Bay Park, Cohen Park, and then, you know, various parks throughout the city. So we thought playgrounds was kind of covered already.
Of course, another issue in the Bay, there's, I guess, SOC, and Amanda's on the board now, possibly extending water sewer lines down to the St. Albans Bay area. Does that, and again, certainly not a significant price tag, but just septic issues come up down there. Is that something that's worth looking at, Bob?
I really think it is. I mean, we have camps along the shorelines that should absolutely have sewer
Yeah.
and not septic. Because it does add to the problems that we have in the lake. And getting back to the town garage, when I didn't know that you guys met last night, Amanda, but from what I heard, Megan stated that most of the people in the residents in the town didn't want that used as a boat launch, but I don't see, if the majority of people don't want it, then I don't know why we're looking into it. As an option, I think our focus should be on a piece of property that we have down there, which is a big asset, and that's the town park, instead of trying to make another asset that close by.
I should also note, we're taping the show on Thursday, February 20th, in case folks are wondering about that. Extending water and sewer lines to the Bay Area, that sounds like that's getting some discussion. Is that worth looking at least?
It's definitely worth looking at, and it's worth the investment. So it's going to be done in phases, you know, when it does happen, because I do believe it is going to eventually happen. It's just a matter of when. And so it would be done in phases, you know, like getting the pipes to a certain road and then, you know, carrying it down eventually to the bay. I was recently helping somebody on a different lake, Lake Carmi, look at a property, and it had a cesspool septic system. Cesspools are just concrete boxes with no bottoms. And so, you know, as you know, Lake Carmi also has algae blooms and things that the bay also has.
Sounds like it even seems like it's supplanted St. Albans Bay, and Missisquoi Bay is kind of the poster child of water quality problems in Vermont.
Exactly.
Yeah, big problems.
So I've been talking with the Friends of Northern Lake Champlain and the NRPC to find out concrete steps. Bridget, that I've been talking to, says there are concrete steps we can take to clean up St. Albans Bay. And there's funding for it. There's the Clean Water Fund, NRPC has funds, so it doesn't necessarily fall on the taxpayers. But I want to take a step towards cleaning up the bay instead of doing nothing, so.
Bob, direction of the town, are you pleased with how the town government's going? The, you know, directional,
Yeah.
kind of a general question, but.
Yeah, I am.
Any big concern, any particular concerns?
I don't have any big concerns. I think we're getting back to the clean up the lake.
Yeah.
I don't think we're going to be able to clean up the lake until we get into the swamp and dredge that, because that's where a lot of the pollutants are coming from. That's been sitting stagnant for so many years, and I'm sure that there's some sludge in there that needs to be taken care of because of the flow back and forth by Black Bridge.
Yeah.
So I think, because that's where most of your algae problems are, is in that area. And along the shoreline of Hathaway Point, where the current flows down through there. So that's where your algae blooms usually show up. Very seldom do they show up on McQuam or Sampson's Point or any of those places. They do every now and then, but not very often.
Direction of the town, Amanda, are you pleased with kind of how the town's going these days, or?
I am pleased with it, and of course there is room for improvement. And so I've been talking to developers and trying to find out what would it take for them to invest in St. Albans, because we do need to grow our tax base. That will also help keep our taxes low. And there are 90 acres available in the industrial park. So what is it going to take to incentivize businesses to want to build a warehouse on that land, and it would also create more jobs in St. Albans, which would also be a benefit. So, yeah, I'll be looking more into that. That's one of my goals.
New fire department headquarters has certainly been in the news, Bob. I'm sure that would mean nothing to you. I'm kidding.
Right.
Again, clearly needed. Is it?
I think so. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember back when we had the storm back 5 years ago, where the partial roof came
Right.
off the station. We talked about it then,
Yeah.
about a plan, and we started a plan, but that kind of fizzled out. So they went on to different avenues. So because when they went before Public Works and before the town hall was built, when they evaluated all the buildings, our building, the fire department building, which was built in 1977 or 1978, was the best building in the town of St. Albans.
And of
they-
course,
but
that's
they
when the
stated-
town fire department split, or became the town fire department splitting from the city. About
Actually,
then,
it
or was
was
that much before?
It was 75,
So a couple of years before.
yeah.
Anyway, would you like to see it? I guess the original plan I was hearing about was putting it on the same site. Now I'm hearing there may not be enough room. Have you got a feel for that? Would you
Well,
like it on the same site ideally?
Ideally, that's the place for it, because
Yeah.
the majority of the firefighters live around that area, so they don't have to go through the city to respond to calls with their own personal vehicles. So right now, I mean, it was discussed back when they built Public Works to put the fire station there, but with the train tracks there, and as long as the period of time that they hold up the Brigham Road traffic, that wasn't gonna be the place to do it. So, we talked about it quite a bit, and every time we have discussed it, it's always been where it is. It should stay where it is. There is a piece of property which the Cemetery Association owns that we discussed with them, and they kind of wanted, the last time we talked, they wanted to know how much land we wanted. So I think there's an option there, but that's out of my reach now. I mean, that's up to Chief Moharan.
Yeah. Amanda, you've been getting into that on the select board a bit, right? Does it seem like there's enough room? I'm hearing just recently that there may not be, but what's your thought, or have you got a handle on that?
Well, I talked to Matt, the fire chief,
Yeah.
and he thought that it could be done there, like on the same site. But again, it's about, are we gonna be able to get water there? Because right now, the water situation, they're having to fill up the trucks in the city because it's like bubbling the paint if they fill it up at the current station. So definitely, I'm not opposed to rebuilding it in the same spot if they can fill the trucks there, because that just makes sense to me that they would be able to fill the trucks at their own station.
Bob, what about the water issue?
Well, the water issue is a problem because it does lift the paint on the trucks. It's hard water. Washing is the big issue, not filling, because we can fill at the Public Works Department. We have a fill site there.
And of course, I see you down at St. Albans Bay off and on. Is that just for training purposes?
That's training purposes.
That's
We do
training.
have a dry hydrant there for fire situations. After we've hauled water from the lake or anywhere, ponds or anything, we've always dumped and refilled at either Public Works on Brigham Road or the city fire station. That was one of the phases that we had talked about when we discussed the possibility of building the station where it is getting water down there, because that was going to be one of the main concerns, and that was going to be one of the steps of building a station there, was putting water down there. It can be done.
Right. The affordable housing, of course, I love the term affordable housing, but anyway, housing issue, a huge issue in Vermont, maybe every place else in the country, or a lot of places. And St. Albans City certainly has moved on some significant housing. Would you like to see St. Albans Town ideally see some housing projects in St. Albans Town, Amanda, or?
I would.
Yeah.
I do think that affordable housing is very needed, and it's not just subsidized housing. People say that affordable housing is a dirty word. It's not. Housing costs have really risen in the last few years, and it's made owning a home or even a condo out of reach for almost all Vermonters, especially those that are in service jobs. So working in coffee shops, restaurants, things like that. And we need those people, as well as all the way up to nurses and doctors not being able to find a place to live. So we really need housing, and that's one of the things that I've been trying to incentivize and see what would it take to get people to invest up here. Because I was talking to Snyder Homes, and they said it wouldn't be worth it. And I said, why? So I'm trying to get some answers as to why it wouldn't be worth it, because I think the town of St. Albans is worth it, and I think we're a great community.
Bob, affordable housing or housing projects, the city certainly is,
The city's-
seems to be doing at least its share, but
Yeah.
realistic for the town or
So
not?
when, my only concern with affordable housing is, we have some properties in the town of St. Albans that, are occupied, multi-occupation, occupied, and there are trouble spots. There's one in particular that was built back a few years ago, quite a few years ago, that, was supposed to have been elderly affordable housing, but now we have a mixture of low-income families in these same buildings where, as a health officer, I was getting multiple calls because the elderly people that actually went in there, rented it for what it was supposed to be used for, are now complaining that there's dogs and children running around and it wasn't a good environment for them and so, but with that, I'm in favor of housing, but not affordable housing. Not buildings, let's put it that way, not big apartment buildings or anything like that. I think it's gonna bring in the wrong people, I think. But that's my opinion, and I guess I'm entitled to it, and
Yeah, we're down to about three minutes, so let's wrap things up. I'll give you about a minute or so to make your case, Amanda, why you're the person who should be elected on March 4 to the two-year term in the Town Select Board.
Yeah, so doing a job for a long time doesn't mean that you're doing it well. And so even though I may not have as much experience, my experience is just in communication and being a liaison between people that have differing opinions. And I like to listen to people with differing opinions. So a vote for me is a vote for collaboration between existing select board members, the town manager, and community members. With me, the town can accomplish more. I'm not here to cause turmoil or chaos.
Bob, give you about a minute or so to make your case.
I'm running for the reason that I'm working for the majority of the taxpayers of St. Albans Town. I feel that when we submit a lot of money to a program, I think it should benefit the majority and not the minority, and that's why I'm here. I'm to be the word for the majority of the taxpayers of St. Albans Town.
I actually have about another extra minute. Give you about 30 seconds. Or any issue we haven't touched on, I'll give you about 30 seconds or so. Any other thing you want to quickly mention? What's I could throw another biggest challenge, succinctly, biggest challenge you think St. Albans Town has in 2025?
Housing.
Housing.
It's definitely housing, because without housing, then you can't have doctors. Without doctors, all the people that need the doctors are going to have to move away, including all the retired people and, people that are needing the services and specialists. And so we need to attract those people, and we need it with housing.
Bob, same question. And biggest challenge, is there one particular issue
I think
that's-
just trying to maintain an affordable budget for the taxpayers of St. Albans Town. So watching closely what we spend our money on.
And you think the town has done a pretty good job with that over the years?
I believe so, yes.
Interesting. Well, we're not far away from town meeting day. Again, coming up, and I should note, folks who need or want to vote early can do that. Again, taping this show on Thursday, Feb. 20. Ballots were out, got one the other day. And again, for I guess most folks will be voting at Collins Purley, March 4th, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m., the usual situation. So, boy, I'm hearing, just talking to you folks off here, it sounds like not a big turnout, but I think your contested race will certainly help that turnout, so hopefully we'll see a decent turnout. Thanks to Amanda Headley.
Thank you.
Select Board member now, having been appointed, seeking a 2-year term, and running against Bob Cross, again seeking a 2-year term on the St. Albans Town Select Board. Thanks for the time, I appreciate it.
Thank
Good
you,
luck.
Richard. Thank you.
And thanks to my key guy out there, Alan
Good luck,
Cunningham, my producer.
You too.
And again, thanks for watching us on Northwest Access TV, and we'll have coverage on town meeting night. Thanks. See you next time. Bye.